Christmas holiday to get a solution. And we came up with a possible solution to allow the Fury-Joshua fight to happen, and then Fury, if he won, would fight Wilder. When I presented that possible solution to Fury, Tyson really let loose that under no circumstances that he considered it a terrible attack on his character, an attack on the travel of people, and under no way he said, not today, not tomorrow, not ever am I ever going to fight Wilder.
Wow. There you have it, okay? A lot of people ask me, well, what happened to the other part of the interview? Why didn't you counterpunch the other part? Here it is, okay? I know I did 2 volumes of how Bob Arum blasted Deontay Wilder for the things that he said, but this actually explains why Deontay Wilder did not get the 3rd fight. He did not get the 3rd fight because he, back in November, decided to go public with his thoughts of his accusations on what Tyson Fury done, what Mark Breland did, what the referee did. He started talking about Tyson Fury, his people, his society of people that he grew up with. And because he did that, according to Bob Arum, Tyson Fury told Bob Arum that I will not fight Deontay Wilder again. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Okay? And basically what he said about his people, I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Because I think he didn't really give a shit about the glove gates. Because, I mean, you got to prove that type of stuff. And then if that's the case, they would have been in court already. If they would have had the amount of evidence they claimed that they had, like they bullshitted everybody through all 8-9 months of last year, you know, pushing this shit through all these other channels, the Wilder channels. If they would have had that, there wouldn't have been any need for mediation. There would have been a need for arbitration then. Why would you think they would go for mediation first? Okay, they go for mediation first because they don't want to spend money on arbitration. Arbitration is when you're going to sue someone, but for financial reasons only. Okay, so that's that. So Shelly Finkel says indeed he's going to go to sue and this, that, and the other. That's fine. Maybe that was a bluff. Maybe it wasn't. But all shits and giggles, it doesn't matter because the contract had already expired. You go to another person in a neutral ground to find some type of common ground, and it was not met. The mediation failed because of what Deontay Wilder already done. The damage was done. Okay, he shouldn't have said that about Tyson Fury. He shouldn't have talked that about his people, about his race of people, okay? Or his group of people, you know, from his background, being a gypsy. He shouldn't have done that. Being a traveler, he shouldn't have done that. Oh, you know, they all sneaky, they all this and they all that, because like I've told you guys, if we would have turned that shit around, it would have been terrible. And why was it not that terrible? Because it is a double standard. Let's face it, we are. We are in a society of double standards through and through. Okay? But the reason Tyson Fury is not fighting Deontay Wilder, I don't believe it's the gate, but I think all that really piled on top of each other, and you consider all of it when you're not going to do any of it. If that makes sense. So if something that finally gets to you to say, you know what, fuck off. If someone gets you to that point, now you're going to add everything in between. Now you're going to add the spike water, then you're going to add the gloves, then you're going to add this, you're going to add that, you're going to add everything as well as the reason why. So that's icing on the cake at that point. But they did try to come to a mediation agreement, and it was not met. Okay, it was not met. It didn't happen the way that Tyson Fury wanted it to happen, because he was already fed up with what Wilder was saying. I think Tyson Fury was really fed up from 6-7 months ago, because you guys who can remember, Tyson Fury already addressed the Glovegate shit way back then. You guys remember that. They accused me of blunt objects in my gloves. That's easy. They were blunt objects. There were 2 heavy fists coming from a 273-pound man. These were the blunt objects that hit Deontay. And I'll gladly do it again, the big Dulce. You remember that? That's what was said back then. So hearing that time and time and time and time and time again, and then he didn't even know where it was coming from, which is chicken shit. It really is. Because Wilder never addressed it to him. See, you wait then when you figure out, oh shit, he's leaving or he's going to do something else. Well, you should have figured that out when you couldn't get a date or a venue. Okay? Then you're going to come out and say that, where if you're looking at it through the perspective of Tyson Fury was addressing these guys that were claiming he did this. He wasn't addressing what Deontay Wilder said, but this supposedly is coming from Deontay Wilder. So, you know, even if it was or not, he agreed with what was going on, so it made no difference. So you got, again, if you're looking at it through the eyes of Tyson Fury, he's looking at it, you know what? You're a piece of shit. You're a chicken shit piece of shit because you didn't even tell me what you thought of me. You blocked my fucking number. You didn't want to talk to me. You shut me out. Those guys are used to talk, just like AJ and Tyson Fury call each other on FaceTime. Wilder and Fury had the same shit going once upon a time. They were cordial. Okay, well, I don't necessarily call them friends, but they were cordial. Okay? And Wilder decided to go that route. He decided to tell everybody except the guy. Because at this point, it doesn't matter anyway, because he decided to tell Brian Custer on national media that, hey, I think Tyson Fury cheated me. So the thing would be, if I thought somebody was going to cheat me, and I know damn well I was going to go public, I was either going to do it two ways. One, to that man's face first, or two, in the fucking courtroom. And he did neither. He told a bunch of channels, and the channels spread that shit like gossip, because a lot of it was gossip until he came out with it. But it didn't matter at the end of the day because he couldn't prove it to be true. Okay? So I don't know about the contract. I don't know who wrote the fucking thing. I don't know. But I can tell you this. The contract wasn't valid. Bob Arum knew contracts. He read it over himself, I believe, right? And he knew at that point that that contract didn't hold any weight. That's why they tried to mediate. Because if it did hold weight, why would you want to mediate? You'd go right to arbitration. Again, if they had the evidence about the gloves, if they had the evidence about the spike water, if they had the evidence about the any of that other shit, they would have already went to the to the judges. To the legal way, the legal route. They would have went that way already. They would have done it. Why? Because they had grounds to. They didn't have no grounds to. All it was bickering and fucking rumors and gossip and a bunch of tabloid bullshit that was regurgitated again and again and again. Right? Saying the same shit that he agreed with without validating it, without qualifying it. That's what he did. And it was a bitch move. A lot of people, he lost a lot of fans and a lot of support for that. Because a lot of people thought that, well, man, maybe that ain't even true at all. Wilder would tell people because he's that kind of dude. He would tell people what's up. No, he just sit back and listen to what people say, this, that, and the other. But you didn't address it to the person that's supposed to did this to you. You know, and Mark Breland, I don't really know what he said to Mark. I don't, you know what I'm saying? You know, but it was a lot of indirect bullshit that was going along. And because he did come out eventually, right, and show his clothing, to show who he really was, that's why Tyson Fury said, I'll never fight him again. And that is what they say is that. Okay? But if there is an arbitration going, more power to him. But I think at this point, Wilder needs to go on with his career, get past his career, start or restart to knock people back out. And he will be that guy that will be remembered for his knockouts, hopefully, if he can get past this. But anyway, that's my take on Bob Arum. And as he explains what happened for the third volume and final volume of this interview with sporting icons involving Bob Arum and Tyson Fury, along with Deontay Wilder. Tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.